Birdland, what's going on? We're back with another extend or trade segment. Today we're going to go over with Jorge Mateo. You're going to let me know down in the comment section below. Do you think right off the bat, before you even watch this video, should they sign Mateo to an extension or trade him away? So knowing the absolute gauntlet of infield prospects that the Baltimore Orioles have, one might find no room for Jorge Mateo in the future, but we know that he has possibly some of the best sprint speed in the entire game of baseball. When the guy gets on, things happen. He can completely take over a game on the base paths and on defense. But there's always the but. What do you do with him long term? Do you give him a 3, 4, 5-year deal, or do you only give him a 1 or 2 year deal? There's a lot to be seen with his bat, right? This is a former #1 overall prospect for 2 different franchises, and he didn't pan out. He started to get a little bit of everyday playing time here, and he's played very, very well. He's a fan favorite. Definitely, everybody in Baltimore loves him. There was a time period where everyone wanted to get rid of him, but he's kind of won people back over. But looking into all that, right? So let's take a deep dive into his stats, right? Is this a guy that we honestly have room for in this franchise? And the first thing that I want to point out, right, in the last 2 seasons, Jorge Mateo has 11 home runs over the past 2 years. Only 2 are on fastballs. The guy likes off-speed pitching. What does that mean to you, though? It means he's going to consistently get beat at the plate with fastballs. And teams kind of know that, and that's kind of why you saw the downslide last year in 2023. And then Brandon Hyde started to see what Jorge Mateo could do against left-handed pitching. Let's look at that. So on the season, Jorge Mateo is hitting .275 against left-handed pitching and only .222 against righties. Again, so that's where we saw the downfall last year in 23, was when he was playing every day and teams really started exploiting him with the fastballs and against right-handed pitchers. So we'll take a look back at 2022 against the 4-seam fastball. Jorge Mateo had a -9 run value against the fastball. 2023, -7. Now we're here in 2024. He's already at a -3. So teams, the book is out on him that he struggles to hit fastballs. Now, 19 of his hits this year are against fastballs. He only has 14 total hits against off-speed. And when you look at the type of pitches that guys are going after him with, it's maybe like 15, 20% of it off-speed. They're attacking him in the zone with the fastball because they see these stats too. So we'll go to off-speed. 2022, his run value was a 9 in off-speed pitches. 2023, it was a 12. 2024 already, we're already looking at 10. Right? So this guy really hammers off-speed pitching. And honestly, most of the time, that's what guys get out on in the big league. So it's kind of like a reverse split type player, which is pretty neat. But what wins Jorge Mateo over with the fan base? Is it his .346 with runners in scoring position that he's hitting this year? Or is it the .385 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs? Jorge has really proved himself to be a valuable player here in the big leagues in 2024. I found some really odd stats with Jorge too here. So hitting in Camden yards, he's hitting .260 on the season. Away from Camden yards, .220. Now also, this one's really kind of laughable in my eyes. When he plays day games, doesn't matter where he's at, but just a day game, before 6:30, 7 p.m., he's hitting .279. Night games, .210. So I think the Orioles are looking at a guy who can definitely help the team, but they're starting to put him in situations where he can be successful. But what do you guys think so far after hearing some of this? Is this a guy that you're comfortable with giving a 2 or 3 year deal to keep him around while he can still run as fast as he can? Because let's be honest, when he comes off the bench, that's a weapon. You can get a late game pinch run by Jorge Mateo. That is an absolute weapon. So let's talk about his fielding a little bit. In 2022, Jorge was arguably a top 10 shortstop in baseball. He produced a 9 run value in 2022. But since then, -1 and 0. So he's been basically playing average defense in the major leagues since 2022. In 2022, he had 11 outs above average at the shortstop position. Now, 2023, between shortstop and center field, he had a -1. And now already this year, he's played center field, shortstop, and second base, and he has 0. He has 1 out above average at shortstop and -1 at second base. The last thing I want to touch on is actually his arm. He has one of the weaker arms in the major leagues. His top velocity in his career has been like 87 miles an hour. Already down here in 2024, we're down to 85 as his max velocity. So we're looking at a guy who, I mean, he's getting to near 30 years old. He can still run. The defense is kind of fallen off a little bit. The arm is fallen off a little bit. We know he's a career 220 hitter, but now that we're putting him in better situations against kind of just lefties, he's hitting 260 something. But we still look at May this year, he's hitting 236. We look at June of this year, he's hitting 231. So again, you just know who Jorge is, but it's the same question. Is he a guy that's worthy of an extension? Or is this a guy that either one, need to move on for, or two, try and just trade for something? But what do you guys feel? Are you confident? Do you love him? Do you want to see him move on? Let me know. I'll catch you guys later. Have a great one.